What's up guys, I think we'll start today with a little cold start video. This is a stock exhaust, so don't expect too much. Go. Just heard the valve open up for us, which is lovely. Put it into sport. I know it's not good to rev a cold engine, but here we are, revving a cold engine. What's going on, guys? My name's Austin James. This is, I think, probably the first of many videos to come, hopefully, whether you guys care or not. As I said, my name's Austin James. I am the proud new owner of a BMW 2015 M235i. And I said new owner, but really it's not that new. To me at least, it's not new in general. It's obviously a 2015. And it's actually not even that new to me. I've had it for about 3 months now, I believe. I bought it in January, like literally right after Christmas and New Year's and that whole craziness. Oh, boys! Let's go. Oof. Putting my old car back to stock and trying to do a whole bunch of different things to basically facilitate this deal, which was actually organized through a private seller, but organized through a dealership because I needed financing on it, obviously. Well, not obviously, but I mean, if you know me, it's obvious. I'm a 23-year-old, recent graduate who doesn't happen to have, $30,000 just kicking around. So that's about what I paid for the car. It has just over 80,000 kilometers, so these are all Canadian figures, keep in mind. 80,000 kilometers on it currently. I bought it with about 77 for just about 28,000. So I had watched the market for a long time, and this exact spec, I waited a long time to kind of find this, and really did my due diligence and checked all the paperwork, saw all the service records, all that sort of good stuff to check when you're doing a used car buy, and this was the exact spec I wanted. So it is rear wheel drive, no no X drive rather. It does have iDrive like any BMW. Rear wheel drive, 6-speed manual transmission. You'll see me shifting, but that was a big kicker for me. I wanted the 6-speed and I wanted rear wheel drive. I kind of set out to find myself a pure driver's sports car before they're all gone, because it seems like companies are kind of not making many of those anymore. So that's kind of what I set out to find, and I was never much of a BMW guy myself, to be honest. There's the BMW comes with certain predilections, predispositions, maybe that's a word. But I was never much of a BMW guy. They're known for being shitty to maintain, very expensive cars to own, very expensive parts. You get this douchebag vibe. So it wasn't really until actually that I started this hunt for a true driver's car that the BMW 235 kind of started. Like, I totally just ran a red light, or went early on a green, we'll say. Just a little drift for the kids. Roads are slick right now. What was I saying? yeah, discovered the BMW's 235i's. You know, the last kind of breed of pure two-door sports car, rear-wheel drive, 6-speed manual available. And what actually solidified it was a trip to Europe for me that I took last fall, where I actually toured around and spent some time in Nurburgring, Germany, at the Nurburgring Nordschleife, and did 2 laps with Misha there, actually, who's a very famous YouTuber, you know, crazy car guy. It was my trip to Nurburgring that made me actually want to kind of pursue getting a BMW. I had done a bunch of research before I left and was thinking about, you know, maybe once I come back and solidify a full-time job, I could look at these 235s. And it was actually when I traveled to the ring that, you know, the presence of BMW at the ring was just blew me away. I mean, that entire, you know, I think I'm gonna do a whole video on my trip to the Nurburgring and the Nordschleife and what it was like to do laps there in a whole separate video, because that could be a whole separate topic. But I think for me as an enthusiast and me as, you know, a driver's car owner, that's where a lot of my passion stems from. And seeing, you know, this track that was dominated by either Porsches or BMWs. I mean, obviously there's other makes and models, you know, participating in lapping there, and doing testing there. But I mean, the BMWs are just rampant there. Like, there's just so many BMWs and they just own the track. But it's because they're built for that type of driving. And I think, you know, that really solidified in my mind that, you know, you see all these old E46s and all these crazy M3s on the track. It's because they're built for that kind of purpose. You know, that's in the blood of BMW, and that's something that, you know, a lot of other manufacturers can't really replicate. Hyundai is trying to replicate that right now with their new N program and with the hiring of the old German M. Did I say M program? I meant N. NM. That's kind of confusing, actually. But no, so that's what I mean. Like, the motorsport history is ingrained in BMW, and you can see it and experience it in the cars. And I mean, alright, what's up, guys? We are back. We got the errands done, only the essentials. Now it's time to go for an actual drive, maybe hoon around a little bit, maybe some autocross, which I'll probably cover in a different video. But we're back. So as I was saying, quick highlight, you know, Austin James, BMW 235i. Went to the Nurburgring Nordschleife, made me fall in love with BMW as a brand. I wanted a pure driver's car. I took a long time to research the market and bought a pure driver's car, and so far really happy with my purchase. So as far as the car and plans for the car, maybe, I definitely want to do some modding. My previous car was a 2016 Hyundai Veloster, a turbo rally edition, of course. I'll throw some content of that below, maybe. You know, that was a fun car. That was a great car. I bought that as a student. There's a longer story behind, you know, how I ended up buying that. Maybe I'll do another video on my car ownership history, which has been a little spotty to say the least. But that was a fun car. It's good for, you know, cheap fun horsepower, but I always found the platform couldn't really keep up with, number one, the looks or the power. Not that it's really heavily powered, but I mean, 200 horsepower stock is pretty decent power to be pushing to front wheels, and without the, you know, the suspension and the dampening and everything else required to kind of put down that power and exercise that power in a safe and controllable way, I think the platform left a lot to be desired. But regardless, it's a fun platform. It was very fun to mod. I definitely made that car my own. You know, I had blow-off valves, muffler delete, intake, the whole racer lifestyle, really, Korean racer lifestyle. So that was a fun one. But I definitely wanted something a little more grown up, a little more put together, a little more well-rounded as an entire package. And I think that's definitely what I've got out of the BMW now, which I love. So as far as plans for this car, I'll definitely be doing some mods, but nothing too crazy as of yet. Like I think within the first year of ownership, I don't want to do anything too crazy. So by crazy, I think I'm meaning basically tuning and going full bolt-on. I hope to keep this car for a long time. So I would say, you know, tuning and going with every bolt-on option available, I think that's kind of inevitable. Eventually I'll probably go that route. Probably boot mod 3 I'm thinking, with you know, some other goodies to kind of enable that to be worthwhile. But right now I have already purchased 3 somewhat major mods. One being, the very first thing I ordered was a VRSF charge pipe. Now for anyone familiar with the 2 Series, especially the M235 2 Series, apparently the charge pipe is a pretty common thing. You know, I'm in some Facebook groups and I see posts like every day that are like, oh, thinking about purchasing a 235 or whatever, like what are the common issues, any things I should be aware of, what are the like, guys, go do a quick Google search instead of posting in this group, because there's tons of threads on that exact topic. And basically the only real feedback these people usually get is, yeah, charge pipe is pretty much the only known kind of somewhat major issue here. So I got the VRSF charge pipe. So that has already arrived. I'm just waiting to install that. I need some lift pads and I have the torque wrenches now, or the torque, the Torx bits. So charge pipe is in the garage. Springs are also in the garage. So I got a good deal on some used H&R lowering springs, which I'm really excited about. And I have some people staring at me. I have some H&R lowering springs, which I'm really excited to outfit on the car, because I think just lowering it that extra little bit is going to give it such a wicked looking stance. And I think it'll help handling as well, because there's definitely, as firm as the car is, I think there's definitely a bit of body roll, more so when you're doing things like I am right now. So when I go into it and I drift this way and then I come back, you feel the body really kick you back the opposite way when you come out of a slide like that. So I'm hoping the springs kind of reduce some of that. And then the other major thing, which is the reason why I'm so happy to be hooning around in this lot right now, I bought tires. So right now I'm on the stock Michelin Pilot Sports and abusing the shit out of them because that's fun. And it just rained, and this is only in this is Sport Plus, so there's still some traction control on, if you'll believe it. That is fun. So yeah, I bought tires. I ended up going with the Firestone Firehawk Indy 500s, mostly because they're a value buy. You know, I just bought this car. I spent a lot of money up front getting into this car and getting out of my old car. So, you know, I'm not exactly flush for cash, even though I kind of took the money that I had planned for a trip out west and put it into some of these mods now. But I didn't have the money to go with the full, I couldn't justify the full Michelin Pilot Sports, the 4S's or the Super Sports, just because they're like over 300 Canadian per tire, which I think is a little ridiculous. I think I paid like $160 for the rears and $130 or so for the fronts, for the Firehawks. And basically, from what I read, it's like 80% of the performance for half of the price. So I ended up getting a full set, front and backs, for basically the price of what it would have cost for 2 Michelins. Basically my front left tire actually has a bit of a bulge in it, so a bit of a girth there. That's obviously not healthy. The one on it is really small, so it's actually not a major issue for daily driving, but definitely something I wanted to take care of before I take this puppy on the track, which is definitely something I plan on doing with the car this summer. I'll be on the track hopefully, you know, maybe 2 to 3, 4 times potentially. But definitely want, you know, good proper tires that I can be confident with on the track before I jump out to do any of that. So as far as other mods, then the ones I kind of listed there, definitely want to get that charge pipe on sooner than later. I'll probably fit an M Performance muffler or one of the other aftermarket mufflers to it at some point. Right now, I'm trying to be satisfied with the stock sound. You'll notice it's not that loud, but I think it's like just loud enough. So that's just about 2 to 3,000 RPM revs with a pretty warm engine. That's 25. That's 35. That's awesome. Like that's enough. That's all you ever really need. You could use a little more, but for now I think it's a good amount of sound. That burble is so good. My old car had a muffler delete, the Veloster, and a big swooshy intake or blow-off valve. So it was pretty noisy and definitely a little douchey at times. So I'm kind of looking forward to and I'm kind of enjoying having a quieter car that's more low-key, but I can still, you know, have some fun and rev up when I want to, without it being, you know, a really loud cold start and feeling bad about the neighbors and that sort of stuff. Eventually I'll be there, but for now I'm enjoying having a bit of a quieter car. That's kind of today's video, I guess. I just wanted to do a bit of an introduction as to, you know, what my plans are for the car, who I am, what this channel might be. I don't really know what it's going to be. I don't know if I'll ever get any followers or subscribers or views, and I'm kind of okay with that. This is kind of just to document, you know, my experience with this car and my history with this car. So as far as other videos and what kind of content you might see on this channel, I'm really not sure. I have a couple episodes that I'm maybe toying with ideas for. I think one would be around a dream car discussion, what my dream car is, what some other good dream car picks I think would be. I'm gonna do 2 on my favorite and least favorite things about owning a BMW. Because there's definitely some annoying things, but there's definitely some pretty awesome things about owning this car. Other than that, you guys can let me know what kind of themed episodes you'd like to see. I don't know how many of these I'll be able to do. I'm not much of a video editor, but we'll see where my skills take me. Anyways, I think that'll be it for today, guys. I'll sign off and try and keep this somewhat shorter than it should be, or it could be, or I don't know. I'll stop talking now. See you later, guys. Enjoy your driving. Fast in, fast out. That's such a dumb thing. I need like a cool sign off. I'm not a cool YouTuber yet. We're working on it, guys. I swear we're working on it. Maybe someday I'll be a cool YouTuber status like Misha.